All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, one that might just reframe how you think about pretty much everything. It's called the discipline paradox.
So let's just start with this question right here. I mean, really think about it for a second. It's a tough one for sure, but it's so important because it puts the power right back where it belongs, in our hands.
So yeah, let's start there with that excuse. Before we can build anything new, we got to clear the ground first. And that means we have to get honest and tackle the real root of the problem, our own justifications for staying stuck. This hits hard, right? An excuse isn't just some harmless reason we give. It's actually an active choice. It's a justification for not making progress. And every single time we make one, we're basically giving ourselves permission to fail. We're sabotaging our own growth before we even start.
And this analogy is just perfect. Think about it. Excuses are exactly like sugar. They give you that immediate, comfortable high, right? That little bit of relief you feel when you let yourself off the hook. But just like sugar, over time, they are quietly, silently rotting the very foundation of your potential.
All right, so if excuses are the big problem, then what's the solution? Well, that's what we're jumping into next. Let's try to reframe discipline, not as some kind of punishment, but as maybe the most powerful and accessible tool that every single one of us has.
It's so easy to look at successful people and think, they're just naturally talented, or man, they got lucky. But real, lasting success, it comes from something anyone can build, and that's self-discipline. It truly is the great equalizer because it has nothing to do with your background or your luck. It's all about consistency.
Just picture any elite athlete you admire. Yeah, sure, talent plays a part. Of course it does. But what really separates them from everyone else? It's the thousands of hours nobody ever sees. It's the daily grind. It's that relentless, consistent repetition, especially when no one is watching. That, right there, is discipline in action.
So, how did this actually work in real life? I mean, how do we build it? Well, the best way to picture it is with this simple idea. Think of discipline as a small snowball at the top of a hill.
It starts small, right? You begin with these tiny, almost unnoticeable daily efforts. Maybe it's saving just $10 or doing 5 push-ups. It feels like nothing, but then you keep at it. That consistent repetition makes the snowball bigger and bigger. And before you know it, it's gained so much momentum that it's practically unstoppable, creating these massive results you never thought possible.
Okay, so we get the what and the why. Now let's get practical. Let's talk about the how. Because this whole concept becomes seriously powerful when we start applying it to specific, high-impact areas of our lives. So where do we focus this new superpower? Well, how about finances? It's the simple discipline of paying yourself first, saving before you even think about spending. What about your health? It's about overriding that voice that says, I don't feel like it, and just moving your body. And at work? It's that famous idea of swallowing the frog. Doing that hardest, most dreaded task first thing in the morning.
Okay, let's pause for a second and make this really personal. What is that one thing for you? What's that one frog that you've been putting off? Just identifying it, that's the first step. That's how you start rolling your snowball.
And this right here brings us to the absolute core of what we're talking about today. It's a concept that might just flip everything you thought you knew on its head. So welcome to the freedom paradox.
Come on, let's be real. When you hear the word discipline, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most of us, it's restriction, right? It feels like being trapped, like having less freedom, not more. It kind of sounds like a cage. But what if that's completely 100% backward?
This is it. This is the shocking truth, the paradox in action. Discipline with your money, it doesn't trap you. It creates freedom of choice. Discipline with your health, that gives you the freedom to actually live your life to the fullest. And discipline with your work, that gives you the incredible freedom to design your own future.
Okay, I've got one more analogy for you, and this one is really powerful. Just imagine a giant, massive dam holding back an entire river.
That massive structure, the dam itself, that's the discipline. And yeah, it feels like a ton of pressure. It's holding back all that force. But that very pressure is what takes all that chaotic river energy and turns it into enough focused power to light up an entire city. Your discipline does the exact same thing for your life.
So when you boil it all down, it really just comes to a choice. Look, we can't avoid pain or discomfort in life. It's just not possible. But what we can do is choose our pain. And that brings us to the final, crucial decision we all have to make.
You've got 2 options on the table.
First, there's the pain of discipline. It's tough, it hurts, no doubt. It's like being sore after a good workout, but it's temporary. Then there's the other option, the pain of regret. And that, well, that's a much, much heavier weight to carry. And it lasts forever. So at the end of the day, and really at the beginning of every day, you're making a choice between those two. There's no middle ground. There is no third option. The question isn't if you'll feel pain, but which one you will choose. And that's the question I want to leave you with. Which pain are you choosing today?